Without any further ado, welcome to another exciting episode of Anything Can Happen. Let us bring on your co-host for Anything Can Happen and one of the hosts of the Get Your News On with Ron. Like that, I guess there's only one host. That's Ron Cho. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage and the StreamYard and the interwebs, Ron Placone.
Oh, Graham, what's going on, buddy? I love the new studio. It's I dig it, man. It's got it does have that like it's got like a 90s music video vibe, and I really like it. It's my favorite era of music videos.
It feels almost 80s. It's sort of like
yeah, a little bit.
And
like
I ran so far away, I couldn't get away, right?
Dun 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 dun. Yeah. It's got an aha vibe. I'm feeling it. It's good. Good to be here, man. I'm glad. I mean, this is just. I want the world to collapse to the tune of multiple choice questions. You know, like I just think that's the way it should go out. So that's why we do this game show.
We got good things happening. You know, the Congress is basically being run now, but they're going to outlaw just everything now that the right wing's got it control, and the Supreme Court wants to outlaw striking, I think. Isn't that what you're talking about?
Yeah. The Supreme Court, they're going to try to make it like almost impossible to strike because the employer can sue the strikers for what they deem to be damages. It's great, man. Yeah, it's great. We're really we're coming in swinging. So yeah, and this is we've successfully made a political game show where the less you know about politics, the better off you are, which I think is also kind of a life lesson, really. I don't pay attention to the news. Well, you've already won. You won. Good for you. You're already a winner.
People that have won on the show. One, we had a guy didn't know who Kamala Harris was, won the show. We've had political pundits lose, college economist professors lose.
Yeah, we've had professors lose.
We've had professors lose. This show is truly amazing. That it's almost like the less you know about politics, the better chance you have, because it's fantastic, and it totally
it's a special formula. There's a special knack to this game. I'm not even quite sure what it is. That's how special it is, because anything can happen.
That's the show, ladies and gentlemen. We show the absurdity and the evil of both political parties and the American empire in a fun, wholesome family game show that you can play at home with your kids. So, Ron, why don't you introduce the wonderful people on the internet to our esteemed contestants for tonight's show?
Absolutely. Our first contestant, very, very funny comedian. She talks crypto. She talks comedy. She's been on Forbes, CNN, list goes on and on. Please welcome to the show, Mona Shaikh.
Yes. Thanks so much for having me, guys. I was actually looking at Graham's background, and it gave me very Morgan Freeman, Bruce Almighty vibes. That's what I got. It's like you're in the clouds. You're like a god. I always pictured God to be white anyways. So it's like white God, face in the sky, answering all your questions.
Yeah, that's how I want this. I want this game show to be perceived as I'm God in the sky answering your questions. That's
asking you, and if you get the questions right, you get to go to heaven.
Yeah,
you get to go to heaven. Yeah, that's it. That's all you have to do.
He's going to ask you Republican or Democrat quotes, and that's the ticket.
That's
well,
right there.
This life pretty much is like a game show, right? Like there's prizes you could lose. It's like womp 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 womp. Like
I never pictured God to have a necklace, but now I do. So.
I can tell you this: God is absolutely a surfer, because God made the waves, and God's a surfer, and
that makes
everything
sense.
else was ruined by human beings. So that's mine.
Humans do ruin everything. I agree with that.
They really do. So Mona, I know we just had, for those of you who haven't seen, there's a great interview. Mona and I talk about the state of crypto. She's very knowledgeable on it, so please check that out. And she's doing like crypto comedy stuff. So pay attention to that. And now let's meet Mona's who she will be competing against on Anything Can Happen. Ron, who's our next contestant?
This guy is very, very funny. He does an immaculate Bernie impression. He does a fantastic Bush impression. And actually, my favorite impression that he does an absolutely killer John McCain. It's so crazy good. I've watched, I don't know how many times I've watched this guy's John McCain video over the years. But please welcome to the show, James Adomian.
Hey, wow. Thank you, Ron. Thank you for that introduction. That goes way back in the James Adomian archives.
Yeah. No, I loved it, dude. Especially like when you had like the Doors music over it and you were doing
John McCain as Colonel Kurtz.
Yeah. Well, and then the sketch with his wife too. That was, I know that's going back, man. But yeah, I love that.
I think it was probably Drew Droege playing Cindy McCain. And it's an honor to be here with Graham Elwood with the I'm calling it like a Pearl Jam or Creed music video background.
That's the first part of that is really, I love Pearl Jam. The Creed thing, that felt like a slight. That felt like a deliberate attack.
Nice,
Some of the hardest times I have laughed is watching you, James, be on the Todd Glass show at LA Podfest several years in a row. Where that was one of my favorite things about being a producer on LA Podfest, watching the Todd Glass show and having you come in and do all these characters. And when you did Creedence, when you were singing Creedence, my God.
Oh man, that was before the pandemic, and LA Podcast was still a thing.
Yes. Yep.
Oh God, those were fun days. We're in the evening, so it's about the time. Like, I mean, that's the fun. You don't know what he's saying.
That's all you got to do. That's like my Eddie Vedder is just no, I'm doing Nickelback. Anyway,
same thing.
I'm not Nickelback. It all kind of runs together. All right, let's get into our first. There are 3 rounds. I will explain the rules to our contestants and the home audience. Our first round is famous quotes. Who said this, Republican or Democrat? I will read a quote from a prominent Republican or Democrat, somebody who was president, vice president, key cabinet position, or a presidential cabinet. It won't be some obscure senator you've never heard of. I will read the quote. First one of you to raise your hand gets to answer. I'll give you, this will be a sample. So I'll say like 40 and 20 years ago, first one of you to raise your hand. Ron will pick you. And if you say Republican, that would be correct. You get that point correct. And then you have a chance to get a second point by saying who specifically said it. And if you said Abraham Lincoln, you would get 2 points. If you said wrong answer, then the other contestant has a chance to steal that point. And thus, anything can happen. Person with the most points at the end of round 1 gets to choose what category we use for round 3. And there will be 2 legit categories.
For round 2.
For round 2.
Yeah,
what did I say?
You said round 3, but yeah, round 2. They pick it for the next round.
The host doesn't even know the rules, folks. Anything can happen. That's what we love about this game show. So for round 2, so whoever's in the lead of round 1 gets to pick the category for round 2. And you will be given 3 categories to choose from. One of them is a fake category. If you pick that one, that is the super delegate category. And then the person in second place automatically has a 1-point lead over you. And then they get to pick the category for round 2. And then after round 2, and then we do a round 3. It's all fun. It's very simple. Raise your hand. Ron will pick you. And we are now ready for Anything Can Happen. Contestants, are you ready?
I think so. Think so
too. Yeah.
Mona and James.
The last part was a little confusing, but I guess we'll figure it out. It's fine.
Yeah, we get there. It's like when you play a board game at someone's house. You're like, let's just start rolling the dice. It'll all make sense. You know what I mean?
That's how I kind of like live my life. Just roll the dice and just see where it just happens.
All right. Here we go. All right. Ron, number 103. Who said this? Democrat or Republican? Rick, I'll tell you what, $10,000 bet?
Mona.
I think James is still processing this question. Republican?
Oh, congratulations, Mona. You got our first point of the evening. Guessing Republican. It's that simple. Now a chance to double your lead. What prominent Republican, I will read it again, said the following quote, Rick, I tell you what, $10,000 bet.
Mitch McConnell?
That is incorrect. James, you now have a chance at tying us up at 1 point each. Which prominent Republican said the following quote? Rick, I tell you what, $10,000 bet.
Mitt Romney.
That is correct, James Adomian. Congratulations. You have tied us up out of the gate. Already a tied contest, Ron. This is exciting.
I think we're going to see a lot of points today, Graham. I always make my predictions early. That's my prediction this game. I think we're going to see a lot of points. This is going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be close. It's going to be high-scoring.
I got to believe you're correct. And I think both contestants now, after the first question, see how simple this game truly is and how you really don't need to know a lot other than names and guessing. All right. Next question. The score is tied 1 apiece. James 1, Mona 1. There are 4 questions in round 1, 3 remaining. Ron, number 105. Who said this, Democrat or Republican? See, students, you too can be president.
James.
George W. Bush.
So that is a first. You got to guess the party first.
Well, that's the George W. Bush party. I guess I've shot my load.
So you just say. I mean, it's.
What's wrong with the name of a party? Is I am a party. I'm peaceful. I'm understandful of my party of one.
That's the whole reason I brought you on the show, James, is so you would do your George W. Bush impression. So you didn't say the party. You said the president is correct. So that's correct. So
I'm going to manage to get nothing out of this.
So we'll give you a point for that, for the first question is you just got to guess Republican or Democrat. And then you say the president. So you got the president right. You're going in reverse order. So what party?
Republican.
Oh my God, James, that's amazing that you got that. That's fantastic. That's the way to go. So remember now, guys, when you say the party first, but that was correct. James now got 2 points off of that and a phenomenal impression. So now James is in the lead 3-1. But Ron, we've seen much higher leads come and go.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's still early on. And again, sticking by my prediction, we're going to see a lot of points from both contestants. But that was a really quick, boom, sweep. So we'll see what happens next.
All right. Question number 3 of round 1. Question 106, Ron. Who said this, Democrat or Republican? I would have made a good pope.
Mona.
Democrat?
That is incorrect. James, you have a chance to get another point and increase your lead 4-1. Which prominent Republican said this quote? I would have made a good pope.
Donald Trump.
That is incorrect. Mona now has a chance, right, Ron?
Yeah, she gets one more.
Mona has one chance to guess which famous Republican said the following quote: I would have made a good pope.
Thinking of the most egotistical one.
Not a short list.
Yeah,
Not
right.
a short list there at all. I don't know, man. There's so many whack jobs on the Republican side. I'm gonna go with I don't know. McCarthy?
That is incorrect, but a bold guess. Ron, tell everybody who said that quote.
That was Richard Nixon.
Yes.
So
Oh, I didn't consider the dead ones. Okay.
Hey, what up, man?
Gotta think of the dead people too. All right.
Henry. I guess if you put the Henry in there, you give it away. He was always saying everything to Henry Kissinger.
Yeah.
Henry would have made a fantastic pope. The celibacy of the priesthood would have been done away with long ago. Good, honest Protestant values.
Oh, I would love to see a Richard Milhouse Nixon mass. I would love to see him give a papal mass in the Vatican City.
I want everybody paying attention.
All right. James still has a 2-point lead. Our final question of round one, but 2 points lay in the balance. Mona could easily tie us up and force a sudden death over who picks the round two category. Fourth and final question of round one. James 3, Mona 1. Round 111.
Right.
Who said this, Republican or Democrat? Getting rid of lead pipes is an environmental justice issue in rural communities, in poor communities, and communities of color.
James.
That's a Democrat.
That is absolutely correct. You now have 4 points and a chance to extend your lead 5-1. Which prominent Democrat said the following quote, getting rid of lead pipes is an environmental justice issue in rural communities, in poor communities, and communities of color?
Barack Obama.
That is incorrect, James. Mona, you have a chance to steal the point. Which prominent Democrat said that quote?
Gavin Newsom?
You're not wrong, or you're close, Ron, because the person who said that was at one time Attorney General of the state of California. Ron, tell us who said that quote.
Right state, but that is Kamala Harris.
Oh, I'm so close.
Yeah,
so
Kamala Harris.
close.
Yes.
Yet so far.
Same slate a couple times there even.
Yeah. But now James has the lead 4-1. He is in the lead going into round two. I will read 3 categories for James Adomian to choose from. One of them is a fake one. If he picks the fake one, Mona will then take a 5-4 superdelegate lead and get to pick the category in round 2. So the categories to choose from are name that dictator.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I missed that.
So I'm going to give you 3 categories to choose from. The first one is name that dictator. The second category is presidents that have murdered. And the third category is name that empire. Goofy laws from around the world.
I'm going to say name that dictator.
That is correct, James Adomian. So that is not the superdelegate category, which we will never reveal what it is until you pick it. So we now go into round 2. James has a lead 5-1. But Ron, while a 4-point lead does seem like a big hill to climb, what has this game taught us in the past?
Leads come and go, Graham. Anything can happen. Now this is a lower point round. This is a multiple choice round, so there's only 1 point on the board for each question. But I think all of them are going to get scooped up. So I'm sticking by my prediction. We're going to see a high scoring game here.
Yes, we can. There are 3 questions in round 2. James has a 3-point lead. So by the end of it, we could be locked up going into round 3. Or any number of scenarios that equate with the math sitting on the table. All right. The category is Name That Dictator. I will read what this person has done and then give you 4 dictators to choose from. First person to raise their hand gets to pick. If they pick it correctly, they get the point. If they are incorrect, the other contestant gets to pick from the 3 remaining names on the potential dictator list. All right. Number 10, Ron. When he occupied the White House, Donald Trump used the presidential call button to immediately deliver him A, a massage, B, his iPhone, C, a Diet Coke, D, sports scores.
Mona.
Oh, a Diet Coke?
Mona, congratulations. You just got yourself the 2nd point of tonight. Outstanding. Oh, boom, boom. That's what he called for. That was our president. Now,
Yeah.
James, how do you think Bernie Sanders would have responded to that?
Look, in my view, Donald Trump has grossly overstepped the boundaries of the presidency and executive branch of the United States. What's more, it is highly irresponsible for the most visible leader in the political free world to be ordering a Diet Coke, which is flavored with aspartame, a substance only legalized over my strenuous objections in the 1980s by Donald Rumsfeld.
Thank you, Senator Sanders, for weighing in on that. We very much appreciate that. All right, so James 4, Mona 2 now, trimming the lead. Mona, let me ask you this question: Did you know that's what it was, or was that just a guess?
I mean, I think of ketchup, Diet Coke, and cheeseburgers, and a big butt when I think of Trump. So, if you give me any 4 of those options, I would pick from them. So yeah.
And you got to wonder too with the aspartame, like how much is his mental cognition affected, and the Coke from the 80s and whatever Adderall and whatever else he's taking. I think. I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Next question, James 4, Mona creeping up with 2. All right. Name that dictator. Number 12, Ron. This former president used a version of Whitney Houston's rendition of I Will Always Love You during his campaign. Was it A, Saddam Hussein, B, George Washington, C, George W. Bush, D, Barack Obama?
Mona.
George W. Bush?
That is incorrect. James now has a chance to steal this point. I will read the question again, James, and you could pick. Name that dictator. This former president used a version of Whitney Houston's rendition of I Will Always Love You during his campaign. Was it A, Saddam Hussein, B, George Washington, C, George W. Bush, D, Barack Obama?
Saddam Hussein.
James, you are correct and just got your 5th point of the evening. That was Saddam Hussein who used Whitney.
Because it's a little bit too tone deaf for an American politician. But if English is your third language and you love the song, I can totally see that.
I'll be honest, I didn't think anyone was going to get that one.
That's a good logic.
I mean, I can see thinking, oh man, this is definitely something an American. I mean, obviously it's not George Washington, right? So that's the one joke one. But like Barack Obama, maybe, but I could see George W. Bush thinking, yeah, this would be a good call. Like
so tone deaf for so long. Like yeah, maybe that guy.
But then, having been to Iraq, doing shows and seeing the pool at Saddam's one of his palaces that was emptied and had blood marks in the deep end because he would put people he was pissed at in the end with a tiger. Maybe Whitney Houston's crazy song would make sense. I don't know. He was nuts.
I want to know how Whitney feels about it. That's how I want to feel.
She's probably like, well, as long as the royalty check cleared, I don't care, right?
I'm just imagining him pressing play on like one of those analog buttons to a CD, like a tape cassette recorder, and it starts playing.
He just starts waving like,
and the irony of like, there's no bodyguard that's going to help you.
Just like tanks. Go ahead, Mona.
No, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I just said as tanks roll by, that song's playing as he presses the click, and then I Will Always Love You, and then like tanks roll in front of him and he's waving at them. That's what I see. That was my version. What was yours, Mona?
Going out in the pool.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to know if it ended with or it just stayed. Did they add the Iraqi touch to it, or was it just a thing?
It's a great question, and you're the only one on this panel that could make that joke.
That is correct. Oh, I chose that. Do I get a point for that? No,
you get a bonus point. A bonus point. All right. So James has 5, Mona 2. Last question of round 2. All right. Ron, this will be number 13. Name that dictator. This guy claimed to his people that he invented the hamburger. Spoiler, he did not. Was it A, Al, B, Kim Jong-il, C, Vladimir Putin, D, Boris Johnson?
Hey, Graham, can you read A again? You kind of got a little choppy there.
You got choppy. Burn. Anyway, all right. There we go. I'm sorry. I'll read the whole thing again. This guy claimed to his people that he invented the hamburger. Spoiler, he didn't. Was it A, Al Gore, B, Kim Jong-il, C, Vladimir Putin, D, Boris Johnson?
James.
B, Kim Jong-un.
That is correct, James. You are now back up to a 4-point lead, 6-2. As we go into the third and final round. But I know you and I have both seen 4 and 5 and even 6-point leads disappear.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Especially last round, a lot of points on the table. And we've tweaked this last round slightly. Now, this is religious law and state law. And now we have multiple choices for the second half, which makes the next point easier to get than it was prior because you had 50 states to choose from. Not anymore.
Yes. So this next round, there is 3 questions to this round, but there's 2 points to be gained per question, similar to the round 1 question. So I will read a law and you have to guess, raise your hand and say, is it a United State, a law from one of the 50 United States, or a religious law? If you guess correctly, like if you guess state law, then I will read 4 states to choose from for you to get the second point. If you don't get that correct, the other contestant has a chance to steal it. Same thing with religious law. Contestants, are you ready to go into our third and final round?
Now, the most special part about this round is that if we get booked at a college, this round will not be happening.
Yes, as we try to sell this show to do it live at colleges, we're very much aware that this won't happen. We will not be allowed to do this. But for our purposes here tonight, we're going to do it. So James has 6, Mona 2, but there are 6 points available to be had in this round. All right. So this is religious law or state law. Let me find the tweaks are at the. All right. Here we go. Okay. All right. Religious law or state law. 79. You can insult an officer of the law, but you need to stop when they ask you to.
James.
That's a state law.
James, that is correct. You just got yourself a point and a chance to increase your lead. Is it A, Florida, B, New Hampshire, C, Wyoming, D, Colorado?
I'm going to say C, Wyoming.
I'm going to say that is incorrect. Mona, a chance to pick up a point and stay alive. I will read the law again. The state law is you can insult an officer of the law, but you need to stop when they ask you to. Is it A, Florida, B, New Hampshire, C, Wyoming, D, Colorado?
I'll go with D, Colorado.
I will go with you just got yourself another point, Mona. Outstanding. Boom. Making this interesting now. 2 points got split. It is now 7-3, still a 4-point differential. Next question. Religious law or state law? The wealthy will be condemned by God.
Mona.
Religious law.
Mona, that is correct. You got yourself another point and a chance to get second point, getting you ever closer to a tie, which would mean a runoff sudden death question. Is this religious law? A, Buddhism, B, Christianity, C, Taoism, D, Hinduism?
Sorry, which one was Christianity?
B.
B? I'm going to go with Christianity.
I'm going to go with you just got yourself another point, Mona. Outstanding. Wow. Well, boom. 2 quick points. And like that, James's lead is now only 2 points as we go into a final question of round
this is it.
3. Ron, what have we
Came
seen
down to the last question, Graham. You can't ask for anything more.
It's this kind of high-octane excitement, Ron, which is why people are tuning in from around the world to watch me in front of a green screen and 3 comics who want this to be done soon so they can make dinner. And if this is tied at the final question, we will go into a sudden death question to determine the winner. James Adomian 7, Mona Shaikh with 5, our final question of round 3. Religious law or state law? No commercials. You can't advertise in a cemetery.
James.
State law.
James, that is correct, which makes you the winner. And let's see if you can get another point here, or maybe another point for Mona. Was that state law in A, South Carolina, B, Georgia, C, Maine, D, New York?
C, Maine.
Wow, Jesus, that's correct. Sweeps the last question. Holy shit, that was nuts.
My logic here is South Carolina and Georgia wouldn't restrict corporations any more than they absolutely had to. And then when I heard Maine, I was like, yeah, that's a weird state law. So Maine took the lead. Then I'm like, New York, it doesn't rise to the level of being on the agenda to come up in their legislative sessions. But that's exactly the kind of law that they would have way up there in the forest world of Maine.
You know, this This is actually history on the show. See, usually whenever people apply logic, they get it wrong.
Yes.
You're
Yes,
the first contestant that like applied very reasonable thinking to that question, but also still got it right.
Yeah, usually when they apply that much logic to it, they overthink it and get it wrong. That's usually what they do. They think, well, Maine would probably have that kind of a law, but then I thought, well, the South, like this guess was right. Their first logical answer was right, but then they go, well, it involves a cemetery, and the South is really religious, so it's probably that. Then they would like outthink themselves. You didn't do that, James Adomian. That was amazing to me.
Not smart enough to outthink myself. Look, I'm thinking from the hip. Remain confident in my own steadfast.
Oh, I don't know what that means, but I know he does. I know George W. Bush knows. He knows what that means. Well,
there was a drunken stupor where it made sense to him.
Yeah, and everybody agreed and went, "Oh, that's a good point, man. That's a fantastic point." Well, this was super fun. Mona, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Tell everybody where they see you, upcoming shows, your website, any online podcasts that you're doing so people can follow you and tune in.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. This is one of the main reasons why I haven't taken the IQ test, because I don't really want to find out what kind of a dumbass I am. So this is like the second best thing to it. So I appreciate it. Yeah, you guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Mona's Comedy. I'm also on Facebook at Mona Shaikh Comedian. And I have a show coming up on Saturday at the good old Comedy Chateau up in North Hollywood. And you can check out all my shows at Mona Shaikh, SHAIKH.com. And I just got back from Vegas yesterday, and I passed the LA Comedy Club there. So I'm very excited.
Right on. Congratulations. And folks, you can go back and see an amazing conversation that Mona and I had on my show, Political Vigilante, discussing crypto, the future of it, what the FTX is going to mean to the space and all that. It's a pretty cool. We've had some great crypto discussions, and Mona's the most recent one. So check that out. Mona, thank you so much. Good luck with everything, and we will have you on the show soon.
Thank you very much, you guys.
Thanks, Mona.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. James Adomian, our winner tonight. That was just stunning. You brought a high-octane type of contestancy. That's not a word, but I'm going to say it. To the
Never
show.
stopped the sports announcer from making up a word. The contestancy was strong from start to finish.
His intestinal fortitude and contestancy was something to be admired from afar and near.
That was fantastic scoresmanship.
Great questioneering out of our contestantship for today's contest of political sizing of answers.
James, if I could be so bold, man, would you mind if I ask, what does John McCain think of your victory tonight?
Well, look, I think sometimes you say the best man wins. Obviously, sometimes you got a silly little boy who takes the lead, and that he's a bad man. It happens, and I learned that when I was strung up. I was forced to do hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. Back in the days, I was forced to do cheerleading cheers for Ho Chi Minh while he stood on my shoulder like a cheerleading squad.
Thank you.
And what did W. Bush think of your victory today?
I think it's good. I think it's good when it wins. When a victory wins, it's better than when it doesn't.
When a victory wins, that's amazing, Mr. President. When a victory wins, it is better than when it doesn't. I mean, that's just.
I appreciate that. You see, this one doesn't know what he's talking about.
And Senator Sanders, would you mind weighing in on James Adomian winning this evening?
Top 1% of the top 10% of the questions of round 3 were rigged in favor of the top 1% of the top 50% of the pre-existing scores to that point. In the 21st century, even on the YouTube platform, that is unacceptable.
Oh, God. Well, thank you, Senator Sanders, for holding us accountable on our show. We've never been accused of cheating on this show, but I will thoroughly investigate it.
I am never going to come forward and accuse you of cheating, especially when it has been done and I am the victim of it. I will always refrain from those accusations.
Even though we all wish you would.
And put it, making it lighted fun for the next game. I will come together and we will have a critique, we will do our criticisms, and then we will come together and we will lose, and then we will move forward.
Oh my God. Oh, well, Senator Sanders, that was painfully true and funny. So that was just.
Sure.
Well, James, dude, it was great to see you on the show, man. What do you got going on? Where can people see you?
So I'm on Instagram at Adomian. That's also the same Twitter handle, but everyone should stop using it. I'm on Mastodon and Vero and Counter Social, and I'm about to join Hive. And no one's on any of those platforms, but you can find me also there at Adomian. And there's an old Tumblr I think I'm going to turn back on. Which also is I think I forget what it is, if it's Adomian or jamesadomian.tumblr.com. Well, I'll figure it out. In LA coming up here tonight. Is this on tonight right now?
We're live right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing Ben Glebe and Friends at the Lyric Hyperion tonight at 9:30. And then next week on Tuesday, also at Lyric Hyperion, I'm doing In Unit Laundry with MK Paulson and Simon Gibson. And I'm going to be at SF Sketchfest at the Brava Theater on January 21st. I'm going to be in Minneapolis, Acme Comedy Club, February 1st through February 4th. After that, we're looking at Atlanta. We're looking at Fort Collins. We're looking at Honolulu. And I think that rounds out the winter into the spring. And if you're looking for interesting organizations to support, I'm highly recommend, given the hardships that Armenia is going through right now at the hands of Turkey and Azerbaijan. I am telling people about the Children of Armenia Fund, which is coaf.org, coaf.org. They do a lot of great work. And also the Armenian National Committee of America has an initiative to try to stop U.S. military funding of Azerbaijan, which we've been doing without the approval of the American people. And the website for that is anca.org/907.
Well, dude, I really appreciate I've seen you talk a little bit about that on Instagram, and I'd love to have you come back on my regular Political Vigilante show, and we can talk seriously about what's going on because I've covered that a little bit about a year or so ago, but I know it's getting worse now, and I'd love to have somebody come on the show that's knowledgeable about it and can inform my audience what's going on, and then go into more detail about those organizations you talked about and how to help.
I'd be glad to. I hope it's a game show format.
Spin the wheel on which evil country America's funding for war. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Who's in bed with the dictatorship of Azerbaijan? Is it British Petroleum, the BBC, or is it BP?
Yeah.
B, all of the above. Yay.
Hey. Well, cool, man. And so, like, when you do stand up, when you're like headline a club or whatever, how are you like doing the impressions and the characters, or stand up, or a mix of it, or what are you doing?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, it depends on what's going on. I'm always have new stuff to do. People sometimes remember me things for stuff that it's not currently happening in the stand-up act. And so, there's always some impressions, but sometimes it's just new stuff that I'm thinking of or interested in, like shitting on Tom Selleck for doing the reverse mortgage ads or whatever. And there's all kinds of stuff that doesn't make it out there anywhere because I've given up on promoting my stuff or pitching a TV show. So the only way to ever see any of it is to catch me live.
Nice. Right on, dude. Well, folks, if you haven't ever seen James Adomian live, please do. He's hilarious, as he's just made all of us laugh. So check out the very funny stand-up and the impressions and everything. It's fantastic. So support what he's doing, man. Go check out his Tumblr.
Now I got to figure out the password. All right.
Go see him on Friendster. And
why did we ever leave? Why did we ever leave Friendster? What was wrong with it?
We never should have left.
Never should have left.
Well, James, thanks so much, man. Have a great night tonight, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks guys.
James.
Later. James Adomian, everybody. God damn, is he funny? He just fucking
He's
makes me laugh.
A very, very funny guy.
Oh, it's just preposterous, and I just love throwing anyone that's got impressions that I like. I will not let them leave without making them do it. Like Kevin Pollak.
Yeah.
It's
so
every
hard.
time I see every podcast I've ever done with Kevin Pollak, at some point I'm like, and what do you think Christopher Walken? What would he say about that? He'd be like, and I'd be dead if he goes into his thing. Rick Overton, I'm always like, and does Sean Connery? Where does he stand on this? And
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, lad. He goes, I can't do it, but hey, everybody, thanks for watching. We are still in our 9th month of demonetization from YouTube. So support what we're doing at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, which is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. It's free to sign up, and there's a premium level at $10 a month. And for that, you get everybody on the platform's premium content. Myself, Lee Camp, Ron Placone, Jimmy Dore, Whitney Webb, Kim Iverson, Abby Martin, and many, many others. You can also support what we're doing at Venmo at Graham-Elwood. And go to grahamelwood.com. We have a PayPal button and a PO box. I also have crypto wallets, which are all in the show notes. Thanks for supporting what we do.